We have two state placers still in studio with us. First, let's thank Garrett Dillon Ryan and Easton Miller for being on the show. A couple of great guests, great kids.
Now these Wilsons, they have a lot to live up to now. Against Garrett Dillon Ryan, what a character he is.
Well, they just told us that their team, bunch of comedians on the top.
Tell more about that.
So again, TJ and Tori Wilson are in there. I was just talking about the consolation rounds at the state tournament, and I believe you guys both fought back through those. There's a picture that everybody loves to see. Tori, I think you know the picture I'm talking about. It's you hugging your brother as he's coming off the mat. He's got his face wrapped because you had...
I had a bloody nose with 6 seconds left.
So he got a bloody nose, so his face is wrapped up. And the emotion on your face at some point, Tori, can you talk about just that moment when I'm not sure which round it was, or where it was in the process of you guys placing at the state tournament, but you seeing your brother on the mat, I imagine earning his state place. Can you talk about watching that and what happened there?
Yeah, so I had actually wrestled like 5 minutes before that in my third and fourth place match, and I had just won that. And then I'm like, I wanted to obviously watch him wrestle because that was my last match to see him wrestle in his high school career, and we also had been wanting to place together for so long, and it was just really good to see him wrestle. I mean, I was kind of a mess during the whole thing because I'm just like, this is the last time I get to wrestle with him. So yeah.
CL.
Oh yeah.
Last year at regionals.
Yeah.
But even before that, we had the dream of placing at state together, and this year we finally got to do that.
And Tori, you were third. TJ, you're fourth, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, TJ, let's talk about you for a second over there because you are a four-time IVC champion.
Yeah.
And two-time state qualifier and an alternate in your sophomore year?
Freshman and sophomore.
Freshman and sophomore.
An alternate.
So, can you talk about your career as a whole at Tusky Valley with all the success you've had? I'm sure there's maybe coaches.
I didn't start wrestling till I think 4th or 5th grade. I was at a different school, and I wrestled for Claymont for a year, and then we open enrolled to Tusky Valley. We were initially going to Conotton Valley, and once we got to Tusky Valley, I wrestled 2 years of biddy there, and then we went to Warner Elite for junior high. I wrestled 2 years of biddy there, and then we went to Warner Elite for junior high, and one of the Barnesville coaches, TJ King, was down there, all the Warners and the Bronze from Indian Valley. There was a lot of people there, and I would say 7th and 8th grade, I wrestled a lot of matches, and I got a lot better, and that's a cool career. But my freshman and sophomore year, I wanted to be a state qualifier, and I fell short. But it was my coaches back at Tusky Valley, me putting in more time, open mats during the off season. I went up to Samurai Freestyle Club during the spring and did a lot of wrestling. I've been in a lot of wrestling rooms, wrestled with a lot of guys, and all that time put in, all the work, all the coaches that helped me, that's what got me to this point. And I mean, looking back, I've had a great career, and I've done basically everything I wanted to do when I was an 8th grader looking, this is what I want to do in my high school career.
And this may be a question for Tori, but how did you get involved? I mean, just because what he was doing, or how did you get involved?
So he started wrestling at Claymont, and I wanted to wrestle, but they didn't. My parents were kind of about it, but I just I wanted to wrestle because of him, honestly. And then whenever we moved to Tusky Valley, they sent flyers home one day that girls and boys could wrestle. And I remember running off the bus, and I'm like, Mom, girls can wrestle at Tusky Valley. And so I started wrestling and in the biddy program, and then that's kind of where everything started, and then went to Warner's and everything, and yeah.
Yeah.
So during that time is when the OHSAA decided to make girls wrestling an official sport with an official state tournament. When you heard that announcement, how did that make you feel?
It definitely made me feel like the girls were starting to make an impact in the sport because people were starting to realize super rapid yet. So, I mean, I guess kind of just, it's starting to get known.
So, TJ, watching your sister wrestle, how did you feel about that as she kind of followed in your footsteps?
What, when we were young?
Yeah.
Well, She's been an animal on the mat ever since she started. I mean, at that point, we were about the same weight.
We were.
We still
We've
are.
always been about the same weight. We're still the same weight,
But
like right now.
she was meaner and stronger than I was at that point. I mean, on any given day, she could probably beat me at that time.
So-
I've since advanced and gotten stronger and everything, but at that point, she was an animal on the mat. If she deserved to be on that mat as much as I did.
So just like Garrett, you had no doubt that girls could wrestle.
No, I've even had to wrestle a few over the years myself. I wasn't as unfortunate as Garrett to get one that really good. I've won all my matches against a girl.
It's nice to see Garrett is at a point in his life where he can talk about that openly because of all the success that he's had since
That's
then.
right.
He's going to college, and his uncle doesn't bother him anymore when he brings up that story.
I think he still might.
I think
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Okay, now do you guys wrestle? I mean, like, do you want to get better? You know, to face maybe.
Okay, so there's a little dilemma there. We start wrestling, it turns into fist fights. It does not stay a wrestling match.
So you don't want the Wilsons fighting,
Siblings wrestling.
It's just not. It does not
It's
work.
very intense. We're also a lot.
Yeah.
I would say, like, we have the Congdon brothers, Dylan Congdon and Ben
Those two
Congdon.
wrestle each other all the time.
Trying to get a drill partner for a kid that size is really difficult. But we have a mini Dylan named Ben in our room every day, and those two, Dylan improved a ton, which we were talking about earlier. A lot of that is due to Ben pushing him every day. Pushing him every day. So even if Dylan isn't wrestling heavyweight next year, Ben will be.
Yeah.
You guys are on a sibling roller coaster. You fist fights on the mat and then hugging each other after a victory.
Wrestling's a very emotional sport.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, would you agree? I mean, you guys, you've been at the state tournament, watch those matches, kids fighting for their life out there. It's just great. It's great theater.
I've wrestled in that
Yeah, I know.
round before. I mean, it is the
Yeah.
loudest, most emotional.
Yeah.
It's
Most
craziness
stressful.
down. It's so yeah,
It
so
is very
stressful.
like even if it's a match where you're kind of like, okay, like this is a solid match, like this is very winnable. You still get so nervous because you're just this is very winnable. You still get so nervous because you're just like, you could be wrestling in a match, you could be up, like this happened to me in my first match on Saturday. I was up 8-1 and I did something kind of stupid and she caught me and pinned me.
Exactly.
Like you could be dominating a match and just
And it can turn in an instant.
Yeah. So like it's very stressful.
Well, you could be up on points, and if you get pinned, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
That's one thing about wrestling. That's why you should never give up in a match.
It's not over till that 6 minutes
You can never
is over.
give up in a match because there could be. We were learning about Garrett pinning a kid in 7 seconds. I guess if there's 7 seconds left in the match, you can still win no matter what.
Absolutely.
right.
DJ Wilson here from Tusky Valley, a couple of state placers, brother and sister. First I've heard of it. Have you guys heard of any other brother sisters being state placers?
Yes, at Alliance, the Mosdens.
Okay.
There's a heavyweight this year he won, I believe, and the sister got third, I believe. I think there's two sisters, and then there's an older brother.
Wow.
There's at least not
and
a
then-
lot of them.
Yeah, it's
McCracken's.
definitely not very common.
I believe the McCracken's at United.
You guys need a wrestling show. Like
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be funny.
Was he a wrestler or is he just a
He
big fan?
wrestled for a little bit. He's into the stats and you got this kid and
This kid has this many pins, or this kid has blah blah blah.
Yeah, people go stat crazy on baseball, but if you go wrestling, you count takedowns, you count near falls, escapes, reversals, pins. There's a lot you could keep on there, right?
oh, there's a lot of stats. There's just so many variables.
Yeah. Again, this is Sports Talk driven by Ferris here on WJER. Bill Hammerstrom, Roger Metzger here with TJ and Tori Wilson. They are wrestling for the Tusky Valley Trojans. We've got to take a break. We got to get your Wendy's scoreboard update again here, and we'll be back on the Valley.
Things are warming up outside, and it's red hot on the Wabash. This is Dan Hoseller at Fair Chevrolet. Check out the 24 Chevy Silverado with rebates up to $5,500, or finance as low as 1.9 plus $4,750 in rebate. We have red hot deals also on the Chevy Trailblazer and the hottest Chevy of them all, the Chevy Trax. For the hottest deals, the Chevy Trax. For the hottest deals, stop by Fair Chevrolet on the Wabash in New Philadelphia.
Rebates and incentives available to well-qualified buyers through GM Financing. See dealer for details.
We now return to Sports Talk, driven by Ferris, on the sports voice of the Valley, WJER. JER.
Let's quickly get through your Wendy's scoreboard update. Talk about high school boys basketball. Highland got a big win yesterday over Lima Central Catholic, 62-59. Roger, that was an exciting basketball game.
Watched most of that game yesterday. Highland looked like they were going to win, then it looked like they were going to lose. Of course, Nick Wigden with a big three right at the end in double overtime and sent the Hawks on to the state championship game.
Once again for the Hawks. I think their last state championship was 2012, maybe, but they've won.
They've won quite a few.
They've won a few, yeah.
They always, every year, they're perennial powers and perennial title contenders, and right now they are one step away from winning another state championship.
Big team in the way that Richmond Heights has been there for three years in a row now.
Yes.
Richmond Heights got the win yesterday. That's Division 4. NBA last night, Cavs lost to the Timberwolves 104-91. Cavs are in third place, but Roger, Orlando.
They're leaking oil.
Yeah, pretty close to being in that 4-5 game again.
Leaking oil. Got to get healthy. Got to get Donovan back on the court. They're playing good defense. I mean, they held Minnesota to 104. Yeah, you got to score more than 104 points in an NBA basketball game. So
yeah. Well, they did not guard the perimeter well. 52% from three for
an NBA basketball game. So
yeah. Well, they did not guard the perimeter well. 52% from three for the Timberwolves.
No, and they didn't hit it. And like I think we said before, hey man, you look good when you're making those threes. When you don't, you look pretty bad. So
the Ohio State women won yesterday, 80-57 in their NCAA tournament. They play midday Sunday against. You can fill out a pretty good bracket on the women's side.
And this is Caitlin Clark Day. You get to watch Caitlin Clark on Channel 5, I think about 3 o'clock. So I'm sure that'll be a well-watched game today.
And another well-listened-to game. How about the Ohio State Buckeyes men? They're in the NIT tournament. We'll have that on here on the radio against Virginia Tech about 7 o'clock today here on WJER. So let's cheer on the men. I know they're not in the big dance, but they could use, with their new coach, some wins, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And then tomorrow we have Cavs and the Heat. That's another big matchup of two playoff teams right there.
Yeah, they owe them one. They kind of let one get away the other night in Cleveland, and hopefully they can turn the tables on the Heat in Miami.
And then we start our season here on WJER, the spring season, with softball on Monday. Dover has their season opener. They're christening some new turf. They got artificial turf there to keep the schedule moving, and they host John Marshall. John Marshall is in West Virginia.
They're not messing around, man. That's a big one right off the bat.
Absolutely. That's at 5 p.m. on Monday. All right, that's your Wendy's scoreboard update. We'll be back with Sports Talk, driven by Ferris.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only.
Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
We now return to Sports Talk, driven by Ferris, on the sports voice of the Valley, WJER.
Bill Hammerstrom and Roger Metzger here, along with Tori Wilson and TJ Wilson, who's cutting some commercials for Wendy's over there now that he's not in season for wrestling. Over the last 3 months, you haven't had a Frosty at all, but before that, what did you say about Frosties?
They're pretty good. I've never had a bad Frosty.
Never had a bad Frosty. You probably don't drink Frosties, though, between like November and March, though.
I mean, if we have a break, I'll have a cheat meal here and there.
A cheat meal?
There you go.
Yeah.
Thing?
I think I had a small bowl of chicken and rice, very, very small bowl, and an ice cube to wash it down. It was cold.
An ice cube to
wet.
wash it down.
It tasted great.
It does. I remember those days.
It's the little goals, and the little rewards that keep you going.
Yeah.
But that lets you know.
It's the little goals, and the little rewards that keep you going.
Yeah.
But that lets you know, high school wrestling is a tough sport. You do have to make weight, and you do have to be in great shape. I mean, the practices are tough. Can you take us through what you do to stay in shape so that you're ready to get that pin in the last 7 seconds of the third period?
Practice. We had a good group of guys this year that we really pushed each other. Even though we had a small team, a lot of our guys, as my coach Martell would say, we had a lot of dog in us this year. We fought hard. We worked hard in practice, whether it's running, drilling, lifting weights, just getting better. Practice, whether it's running, drilling, lifting weights, just getting better. It was huge to always. There's a saying, you get 1% better every day, and you have to. It's how you get better and how you advance. And being in shape is a huge part of that.
So it's TJ Wilson, 4-time place in state this year. He's here with his sister Tori Wilson, both wrestling for Tusky Valley. She placed third at the state tournament, and Tori, it didn't seem like you had to worry about 6 minutes a whole lot. Didn't you get, how many pins did you get at the state tournament? 3 or 4?
Let me think about this. My first match Friday night was a pin. My last match was a pin. I think. Because then, I don't know. It all kind of gets blurred together. Mm-hmm. And then you don't really remember.
State tournament's a long weekend.
3 days of wrestling, trying to keep your weight down until you can weigh out finally and be done with it. It's just so,
I like to talk shop sometimes with the wrestlers. I want to know how you pin people. Are you a cradle? Do you half Nelson? What are you working there, Tori?
Okay, so my wrestling's kind of complicated here. So I should wrestle with more technique than I do, if I'm being completely honest. But I've gotten away with being able to just, bully my way. My brothers, my dad, and, there's a few moves they'll call, I just run them, just straight over. And, I don't know, I just kind of bully my way. But I also, I run a lot of barbs because of, I'm somewhat strong. So, and a lot of them girls are they're, tall and thin, where I'm, very short and compact, where I can just suck their arms straight together, and I can't do anything about it. Compact, where I can just suck their arms straight together, and I can't do anything about it. And then, as long as I can get my feet, ran over and get them moving and circled, then, yeah.
Tori, more than half the pictures I see of you online, you seem to be holding somebody in that picture, lifting them up for the picture. So, demonstrations of strength. Is that what you're doing?
You're taking at all. I'm just so focused on, I am one of the people, if I can get a match over within 30 seconds in a pin, I am going to do that. Yeah. I am going to do that. I've never gotten shape this year. If I'm being completely honest, I never hit my, being in shape, because I didn't wrestle long enough for that this year. But I want the match over with.
So what year are you?
I want the match over with.
So what year are you?
I'm a 26, so I am a sophomore.
So what are you going to do to get ready for next year? You said you didn't hit your peak this year.
Well, this year was kind of complicated because I tore my ACL last year at regionals. I had surgery on March 27th after that. And then, my knee never really healed. Not that it didn't heal right, but my scar tissue and everything, it just was really bad. I still can't straighten my knee right now, and I still can't bend it past, 110 right now.
So, I was going to say, so you're not even a year out from your surgery, right?
I am
your surgery, right?
I am actually, I'm a year, 2 weeks, and 6 days, I believe. And then I had a second surgery on June 21st, actually. And they went in and removed a bunch of scar tissue, and that really helped loosen up my range of motion. And so I didn't get cleared till or in the middle of January. I got cleared the week of Top Gun. And then I went and wrestled Top Gun. And let me tell you, that finals match I had to have had the highest heart rate in that place. I was so dead. I was like, oh, this is awful. Because I actually went a full 6 minutes. But,
hey, you still got the job done.
I sat there and still or so months of actual live wrestling tournaments to get your body in that shape of constant.
I was going to say, that's amazing you're even where you're at. I mean, I just find that fun.
I didn't think I was going to have a season, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. It wasn't looking good with my knee and everything, my range of motion and everything. It's wrestling, you can't just have if you can't bend your knee very far, it's a really rough sport to be doing.
It's a very physically demanding sport.
Yes, it is. And that's one of the main, that's part of the whole thing in wrestling. Part of the battle is staying healthy, honestly. It's not even, how good you can proceed to wrestle. And I
have some experience in that field.
Yes.
Just even minor injuries slow you down. Last year I dislocated my thumb in, I believe, January.
Sandusky.
Yeah. And it didn't work the same the rest of the year. It still bothers me today, but that just injuries and staying still bothers me today, but that just injuries and staying clear of those is huge.
Absolutely.
This year I did a great job of it, and it shows. I climbed the podium.
Adding back to the knee, like, because I said I didn't think I was even going to have a season. And then I'm actually in, believe it or not, even though I'm a wrestler, I'm in with all the band kids.
Yeah.
And I messed my knee up in that again. And, like, I wasn't, like, in the front. Like, I was in the back. So, like, I messed it all kinds up again. And so that kind of set me back for a while. I was really hurting for a while because, like, my knee, I kind of lost some of my range of motion again because of how swelled and everything it was. But so that was another thing. I'm like, oh, great. Here we go again, you know. Once I was sitting in the hospital room like, oh, my wrestling season. Like, it's going to be gone. Because, like, he's a senior, and that's why I was so, like, I don't think I would have been so, like, adamant about getting back to wrestling.
Had it not been for him, you mean?
Yeah. Like, he was, like, a big part of my, like, drive and, like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he was, like, a big part of my, like, drive and, like, okay, you know, I got to do this. Like, I can't just sit here and lay in my bed and just whine about it. So, yeah.
So how's Tusky Valley doing after the bus crash and everything? I mean, you guys have gone through a lot over there.
So, I would definitely say we're getting all of us all the time. Like, it's really good to see our band, like, making good music. We went to districts. I didn't go because I was at state, but our band went and we got a 1, so we will proceed on to state. And, like, yesterday, so Wyatt, which was one of the kids that didn't make it, he played quads. And, like, our percussion just didn't feel it was right to play, you know, his drums. So, Mr. Dunlap, which is our engineering teacher, he came together and, with his bank or something, I got a brand new set of quads for our marching band. And so now, you know, we get to retire Wyatt's and have our own to kind of start again.
Mm-hmm.
So... But, no, it still affects all of us. Like, I still sit and think about it a lot sometimes. But, like, you know, you just got to keep going, keep moving forward. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for talking about it. I know heavy topic here. I mean, we've done a lot of joking today, but, you know, the whole county, whole area has been behind Tusky Valley, so it's good to hear that you guys are moving ahead.
The support has definitely been really well. Yes, it's been amazing.
DJ, again, you already told us that you're mostly attending Kent State right now. What's your future look like?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I got a whole long life ahead of me, hopefully, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it, whether that is college and, you know, continuing my wrestling career in that, or getting a real job and pursuing a career here. I'm weighing my options at the moment, going on visits, talking to coaches.
What's been this is for both of you guys. What's the best thing about wrestling when you get on? What's the best thing?
Getting your hand raised. That feeling at the end of a match after you went out there and imposed your will on somebody else to control them. Not even be mean and beat them up, but just
to kind of, like, show your dominance in a way, but but without, like,
you don't have to be mean about it.
You don't have to be mean about it.
You can, but just wrestling's almost, it's not as much of a sport as it is like an art too.
It's also a big mental aspect.
Yeah, it's a mental.
Play softball, and, like, I would if I'd struck out, I would get, like, upset. I'd shed a few tears over. Where after I started wrestling, I went out, would strike out, and be like, "What was I even thinking? Like, this is stupid. Why was I even crying?"
And there's nobody to blame on that mat besides yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you go out there. Yeah. You go out there. It's on.
It's
you.
all you.
It's on you. It is.
All right, TJ, you're gonna have to explain the art part because your sister was telling us how she's a rhino.
Oh my goodness!
What's the art in your wrestling? I mean, you're a little more technical. You put a little more finesse into it.
Yes, girls wrestling it's
your sister just did that head whip to look at you real quick to make sure you didn't say anything.
I'm not. The girls are not where the boys are at this point.
Oh, definitely
Therefore,
not.
Her with a minimal skill set, not minimal. You know a lot of moves, but she's also she's superior in her strength compared to most everybody she wrestles. Therefore, she can go out and basically throw them down and put them on their back, and then come off the mat laughing about it.
Oh no, I talk during my matches. It's not even funny. Last year, I went to shake a girl's hand. She had this bright nail polish, like bright sparkly blue nail polish, and I went, "Oh, I like your nail polish." As we started wrestling, and she looked at me kind of funny, and I'm like, "Yeah."
The gift of gab.
All right,
Yes.
TJ, artistic. Give us, paint a picture for us with your wrestling.
You got to have finesse. I can't. If I'm going out there against a guy equal strength, I can't overpower him. And what if he's quicker than I am? I'm not going to be quicker than him. I have to be better than him. Use what he's giving me. You don't always have to create something from scratch. You got to use what they're giving you. And you want to. The way I look at it, you want to win matches as easy as you can. Don't make it harder than it has to be.
Right.
If a guy's giving me an open shot, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to, set up something different that's not there. I'm going to take what it. I'm not going to, set up something different that's not there. I'm going to take what they're giving me. And that's where I see the finesse. Just visualizing, seeing what they're giving you, and making a plan of attack, not just bullying your way in there.
All right, that's TJ Wilson. He's with his sister Tori Wilson, both state placers for Tusky Valley. Just give us the name of a move that you're gonna think is crazy.
Is crazy?
We have the barbed wire.
Like the name of the move,
Just
or
the name of a move. Just something that sounds really cool that you would name.
Now
your
we're not
fantasy
talking
football.
power bomb or anything like that now, or suplex.
Well-
Suplex. The good old like a key lock throw.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Interesting. There's the Russian.
The
I
Russian?
hit
That
all
just
the
sounds like
time.
an intimidating move. You got some,
There's the
Russian.
apple dumpling.
Yeah, the apple. Oh, the